So there are loads of reasons why people are moving here to St. George, Utah. But what we are going to do here is we are going to make a 2-part series, which means you have to check back again next week. And we're going
to be continued.
To be continued.
To be continued.
So we're going to talk to you about what are the top 11 reasons, because, 11's a cool number, right? Like 11.
Yeah.
But anyways, what are the top 11 reasons why people are moving here to St. George? We're going to break it apart into 2 different videos. So that's what we're going to do right now. So stay tuned.
What's up, everybody? I'm Sean Azad.
And I'm Courtney Dezad, and we're with Keller Williams Realty right here in St. George, Utah. And if this is your first time to the channel, don't forget to click on the subscribe button, as well as don't forget to click on the bell so that you're notified every time that we upload a new video.
And if you're watching this channel, you're probably thinking, wow, Sean, I love St. George, Utah. I love the red rocks. I love the energy. I can't wait to move out there. But what do? I'm not in the area. I'm out, maybe even out of state. What do I do? And I totally get that. That's why you want to give me and my team a call, because we can be your eyes and ears on the ground. So what you want to do is give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email.
Or you can reach out to us via WhatsApp. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back. So Sean, since you mentioned energy is one of the reasons the energy vortex is.
Oh, I know it is one of your reasons. Probably the number one reason.
No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, the red rocks around
No, she's not really kidding.
The red rocks around here, they're pretty spectacular, and they do have some pretty spectacular energy, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, I just have to say my antenna is not quite tuned in. I'm sure it exists. I'm just not really tuned in there. But I've heard a lot of people talk about this whole energy thing.
Yeah, but that's beside the point. So this list is not in any particular order because, everyone's different. Everyone has their reasons, right? So we're just talking about, the 11 reasons that we hear most commonly, talking to people who call us, as well as, locals who moved before us. So yeah. So the first reason that we're going to talk about is the weather. So let's talk about that, because I would say that a lot of people who move here, they move from places that are very cold in climate, whether that's, up north in Utah, or a lot of people from Idaho as well. So talk about the weather.
Yeah, so basically the warm weather of St. George, or like this, Washington County area, it's, it is warm and to borderline hot. Sometimes hot, actually.
Yeah.
But the thing is that actually is a magnet for a lot of people, because we do get lots of calls from people that are up north in Idaho, in northern Utah, and in Montana, obviously. And they're
Montana too.
Yeah, and they were like, you know what, we're just tired of the snow. We're tired of just it being cloudy all the time and raining all the time. We want sun. We want to be able to, golf all year round, or whatever that might be. And then people from out, let's say out west or anywhere else, they don't want to necessarily go to a place that's freezing. So they will go, okay, you know what? St. George is just beautifully placed where it's just one of those spots where, people really love.
Yeah, and I would say, you do have a little bit of a trade-off, because obviously the summers are very hot. But in my opinion, because, we come from Southern California, and so we're used to very mild winters. And I just personally would never want to live in, well, never say never, but for me, I'm just so used to a mild winter. It would be very hard to get used to a place where, you have to shovel snow. And it's weird because a lot of people, when we decided that we were going to move, and I was talking to people about how we're going to move to Utah, they would always say, oh, you're going to be shoveling snow. And It's funny that a lot of people don't know, but in southern Utah, it might snow, like a little dusting.
Yeah, I would say dusting. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't have those really harsh winters, and it's so nice. Even, a lot of the winter, you're just like, wow, it is so nice right now. So yeah, it's just like this beautiful, really mild winter. You don't have to deal with all the craziness that has to do with snow. And
let's be real. yes, it does get hot in the summer.
Yeah.
But so does a lot of the country. Yeah. It's not like, southern Utah, St. George is alone in this. Yeah. At least we don't deal with, for instance, when you think of the Midwest, okay, it gets hot, horribly hot and humid.
Hot, very humid.
Yeah.
But then in the winter, it's freezing cold, so you're shoveling snow anyway. So you're kind of dealing with both extremes. Yeah. At least in southern Utah and St. George, you're not, one, it's a dry heat. Yes, it's hot in the summer, but at least it's tolerable. And in the winter, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I would say 9 months out of the year, the weather is just gorgeous. And then, but that's very different for most of the country. I would say most of the country, it's honestly like 3 to 4 months is nice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just a huge reason why people move here.
Oh, for sure.
So another reason that people move here is St. George's location within the West. So talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's that beautiful Goldilocks zone, right? So it's close enough to everything where it's not, again, it's only 90 minutes from Vegas roughly and 6 hours from Southern California. Only it's about a few hours from Phoenix and about 4 or 5 hours from Salt Lake City. So you have a lot of cities that are like relatively close by there. Now, if you go much farther east, now you're in no man's land where it's pretty desolate for a good bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of like that nice range where you're pretty much close to everything.
Yeah.
And so that's what people really like too, is that proximity.
Yeah, I would say a lot of people really like how you do get the feeling of, being in a small town, being not in the middle of nowhere, but, not living in this like huge like rat race city. But you do have the opportunity to experience a city with, Vegas and even, Salt Lake City. So it's not like it's far away.
Yeah.
But it's like you sort of get the best of both worlds, I would say.
I mean, anecdotally, this was one of the major reasons why we chose it. Because we're like, okay, we don't want to be too far away from everything. Again, everyone's different. I have a tolerance. I have very little tolerance for total rural life. That's just not my thing.
Because if he doesn't have a Costco, he will go.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Well, it's not my thing.
That should have been number 12 on our list.
That's
Costco.
true.
But
No, actually, someone I know, they just moved to some little town near Chicago, but it's it's a very small town. And then I was just telling her that would be his nightmare because there's no Costco there.
Yeah, I don't like small towns. Like it just, again, for me personally, I mean, St. George is that nice sweet spot where it's not huge,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still a city. It's not like rural in that way.
Yeah. Although you can get fairly rural.
Yeah, pretty
Literally,
quick.
Like
yeah,
15 minutes from the center of town.
But at least there is the center of town. Like
Yes.
because again, for me personally, because for instance, I know your best friend, her father likes to be out there.
Your best friend. He lives
likes to be out there,
in the
but, yeah.
St. George region, but he lives in Virgin. That's far away.
And then,
it's like in the middle of
and
nowhere.
then it's not like the Virgin City, like proper, like it's a bit of
In
ways
the
out.
hills.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like one of those things where, for me personally, I don't want my nearest neighbor to be a mile away. Like that just seems, it's almost like it's unsettling for me personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So I know we were joking earlier about, the energy vortexes, but I would say another reason, so this is reason number 3, that people move here is the beauty of the landscape around here. It is just phenomenal.
Yeah, that red. I can't get past it because like you drive, just a little west, I guess, like in kind of like southwest, and you're going towards Nevada and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember actually commenting to Courtney, going, imagine this, because it's like more of a brown, typical desert landscape or whatever, or high desert landscape, and just the brown hills and stuff. I'm like, imagine if St. George had that, right? Like it just would totally have a different vibe to it. That red rock is just something that, again, it's just, you have to experience. It's amazing.
Yeah, it actually reminds me a lot of Sedona in Arizona. And it's funny because I was talking the other day to somebody who was actually moving to St. George, and she was saying that Sedona, she loves Sedona as well, but it's too commercial now, which is why she likes St. George, because you kind of get the same vibe, but it's not, you don't have that the commercialization of, well, I guess they do, but it's not only about, like the red rocks and the energy and the spas. I don't know if you've ever been to Sedona, but it's just very much like the the hippie lifestyle, that kind of stuff. And they've made an industry out of that. Whereas like
so they package it like a true business hippie.
Like a business hippie, exactly. But the business hippie. But anyway.
What kind of hippie am I, man? I'm a business hippie. I understand the concept of supply and demand.
No, they are business hippies. And not to say there aren't business hippies in St. George, because there definitely are.
Yeah.
However, it's not like the whole vibe, right? And then another thing that's really awesome about the landscape around here is that you can go to the mountains, it just is vertical so quick.
Yeah.
Not only do you have the phenomenal national parks that are all very close, well, not every national park, but there's so many phenomenal parks that are close. But then you just, you drive 90 minutes, you're in Bryan Head, you drive, 45 minutes, you're in Pine Valley, and you just...
Don't forget Zion.
Oh, well, of course, but it's not, yeah. I mean, it's just, the landscape and the mountains that you get is just so beautiful.
Well, I mean, and how dramatic is that amphitheater, right? Like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I mean, if you want to just see that landscape in full effect, the amphitheater is incredible. Like I mean, it's so surreal.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I just love it. I just love that area.
So number 4 on our list is freedom.
I mean, that is a big deal. I mean, we're just, again, just kind of seeing everything that's played out over the years and stuff like that. You do appreciate the limited government kind of live and let live. You don't feel this overbearingness by the government.
Yeah, I would say the people that are moving here from the West Coast and the East Coast, I would say a big reason is they're trying to get away from a more overbearing system of government. Maybe they've just finally had enough and they're just, they just can't handle it anymore. So
yeah, so it's just one of those things where it's not the only reason, certainly, but it is definitely it's an important one.
So another reason that people move here, and I'm labeling this as number 5, is, and this is a little bit of a caveat, because cost of living here has skyrocketed, as it has throughout the entire world. I mean, St. George is not unique in how the cost of living has just skyrocketed over the last 2 years. That being said, for many people in other parts of the country, the cost of living here is cheaper. So explain. I mean, for certain people, they come here because the cost of living is lower than what they're used to.
Yeah, so it's relative affordability. I mean, depending on where you're coming from, obviously we know that St. George has had a massive run up over the last couple of years as far as appreciation is concerned. So it's certainly not cheap compared to where it was. However, and a lot of the country has appreciated, not quite as fast as St. George has, probably about actually literally half the rate. However, like some of these other, like let's say the West Coast or the East Coast or whatever, actually, surprisingly, this is not that expensive to them. In fact, it's relatively cheap to kind of be able to get a single family residence of a good size, if that's what you're looking for. And it certainly costs way less than a lot of parts of California.
Yeah, for sure. And then I would just say, just your everyday items. That's one thing that I've noticed is that, an everyday item that would cost $20, let's say back in California, here it costs $10. And, this could even just be like at the hotel, it's a $10 breakfast as opposed to in California, it'd be a $20 breakfast. I mean, just every little thing that you buy, trinkets, items for your kids, it just seems cheaper.
I would say, well, yeah, I guess depending on where. So I would say that in general, I think there was a study that was where they kind of ranked like Utah in general, and I think it was right about average for the entire country for cost of goods. Yeah, not for housing, because housing is above average, but for cost of everything otherwise, it's almost exactly average for the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so obviously, depending on where you come from, you might be used to far above average for those goods.
Mm-hmm. So another reason, the last reason on this video, number 6, because you got to tune in next week for the rest of the list.
The other ones.
It's so exciting.
Yes.
But anyways,
nail biting.
It is nail biting. But anyways, number 6 on our list is education, the schools here. And just, we're not trying to steer you in any way. You can look for yourself on niche.com. And one report that I find to be very useful is USA Today. They had a ranking of the best states to live in. And Utah ranked number 3 out of all states. And, they base it off of different things. And for education, meaning how does their education system compare to other states, from kindergarten all the way through the universities. And it was number 10. So it's definitely very high compared to other states.
Yeah.
And if you look at niche.com, there's a lot of really cool programs around here, a lot of cool charter schools that rank very highly compared to other schools in the state. And then they have, cool programs, art programs. They have language immersion programs. Technical programs. So there's just a lot of different options, I would say, a lot of different opportunities.
Yeah, and I mean, there's even like the way that you can actually possibly get like go through programs to get your AA when you graduate from high school. Mm-hmm. That is pretty awesome. Yeah,
so I would say, that's actually a big reason that we decided to choose St. George, because, when we were thinking, okay, so where are we going to live? That's an item that was very important to us because we have 2 little kids. And then we started looking into the schools, and I just thought, wow, there's so many options. It's not like they, they have to do this the whole time. Like they could go this, and our kids are obviously different. So maybe one of them wants to go to the art high school, another one wants to go engineering high school. Like there's just so much.
There's a lot of options. For sure.
And even my daughter, she was telling me, she's like, Mommy, I want to learn Japanese. And then I was just thinking that one of the schools here, you can start at 8th grade learning Japanese. And I'm like, that's just really cool. I mean, so yeah, there's just a lot of cool programs out here.
And it's a surprising amount given the per capita, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems like more diversity, like, where we're from a much more, like, a much higher population area. So say, this Washington County area is only about 200,000 roughly. And the amount of options within just this 200,000 population is incredible.
Wow, so many
options.
Yeah, we've met people that, they have maybe 3 or 4 kids and all of them go to different programs. It's not like you don't have to necessarily
send them all to one.
Yeah, to your neighborhood school. I mean, you can if you want.
Yeah.
But it's, people, they find that they have a lot of options. So that's just very comforting for a lot of people. So that's it. That's our video.
And if you're thinking, Sean, I'm ready to go, what do I do next? What you want to do is you want to give me a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email.
Or you can reach out to us via WhatsApp. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back.